Hello, everyone. It's August 29th. This is the SIG Networking subproject Ingress NGINX community meeting, which means it is a CNCF project, and we adhere to the CNCF Code of Conduct. If you have any issues, please report those to myself, Ricardo, or any other folks on the SIG Networking team leads. With that, we'll go ahead and get started. We've got Janto. Thank you for joining us as always. I know it's always a little late for you. And we got Marco. Marco is gonna learn how to run the meeting today so that we don't have to rely on myself and Ricardo to run the meeting always. So unfortunately, there's only the three of us today, so we won't be introducing any new members. We started looking at the action items. I think we've done, did we do the follow-up on this one? I know we closed the other one.
Yeah.
Is he good on this one?
Or not?
Okay. Yeah. I always have a love-hate relationship with external name. Just because it's with all the other security issues we have with external name, just trying to get things off the cluster. It's always weird. We can't control things when they get resolved off the cluster, but that's just me. All right. Let's go ahead and just let's keep the time and go look and do some issue triage for a few minutes. So I know I haven't been looking. I know we've been doing a lot of the security stuff. We can talk about that in the open topics. That's interesting. Not able to use a Lua script. Module Lua ingress not found. What version? I don't see what version he's on. He didn't fill. This is not filled out.
Yeah, probably they are using something that already removed plugins.
No, they couldn't have. We haven't released it.
Yeah, but they don't need to.
What?
Yeah, in the end, needs information.
Yeah, this needs a lot more information. We don't even know what version he's running. Something's wrong with my config. I need some help with guidance. Well, we need the config. Okay.
We have this model in our NGINX builder. Yeah, the path is here. I have sent the path.
That's what it tries to load, yeah. So it's weird that he's getting that issue. So unless he's trying to do this from, if he's doing it from main, he's gonna have that issue.
Yeah, exactly.
So
after all, we can just tell them that in the long run, independent on their configuration and their issue, we can also just tell them that custom Lua script is going to be removed.
Yeah, by default.
Exactly, that's one thing. And as they are asking in the second sentence, maybe provide the link for the Slack, Kubernetes Slack invite bot, because it's not straightforward to get in there if you don't know it. They are asking for that, and then it should be fine. The first step. Yeah, please help to provide access to Slack channel. Not sure if they can't even.
Isn't it just kubernetes.slack.com?
No, you don't. You need to. I tried that. You need to get an invitation. They're all. Oh, there's create. Oh, okay. Yeah, never mind.
Is it there? Yeah, it's
you can create an account.
Yeah, you need to sign
Okay. Never mind then.
All good. I
All
mean,
right.
it's not apparent.
Yeah, there. Yeah, because there isn't. Yeah, I did it. With something else, but that's not important for now. There is a community inviter for Kubernetes, but that's probably just a generic app sending emails with invitation links.
Yeah. Pod IP address is not visible in the ingress logs. I think I read this prior to the meeting. If there's a 503, they don't get the pod information. Yeah. So they get the pod information if it's a 200, but if it's a 503, that's a server error. It's not gonna.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get the backend because the backend's not available. That's why you're getting a 500 error.
503 probably is all. It's all. I mean, 503 basically is. It wasn't the. No, it wasn't.
Oh, this Caverno sounds
Oh
like
yeah,
a.
it's service unavailable.
Yeah. I see in the upstream log section is empty because there is no upstream. 503 not available. There's no upstream. So what? You're trying to access a service that doesn't exist.
Yeah, and then it's just a code execution issue on the 5.0. Yeah, I remember somewhere in the Lua script, there's another issue or pull request. I saw that we are at some point returning 503 when something is nil. So the 503 might be a bit
Misused.
it's not actually that the backer, yeah, kind of. So I totally agree with you that this issue might also be about the backend missing it all, so the service not existing. And 503 might be a bit confusing, but in the end, it's a different root cause, and not because of we are not logging it. So maybe you should first try to fix the root cause.
Yeah, I would just say when it comes to 200, yeah, that's gonna 503. Is it the same server? I'm wondering if it's the same service. So I'll ask him if the service is if there are endpoints for that service.
Yeah, or if the service even exists. Or you mean the same? You probably mean the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally there's, as I said, there's a PR to some point, to some part of the Lua code. And this is why I saw something returning 503 if the upstream cannot be found.
I mean, that would sound right. If you can't find an upstream, 503 seems appropriate.
Yeah. Also, it's a bit difficult up to some point. Normally, if you would quote unquote hard code upstreams in the NGINX config, then probably NGINX would deal it differently. But since we are selecting upstreams in Lua code, this is probably more of an internal server error or whatnot, which causes to break processing the whole request, and therefore probably some other information is not getting processed, or it simply stops in the mid and not completes the whole request.
I mean, I haven't looked at the Lua code, but I would hope we would just pass the same HTTP
Yeah,
error
but the
code.
point where it's executing the Lua code is a bit it can be a bit before where it's actually gathering other information. Like maybe the Lua code is being executed before it determines the IP address or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore,
I wonder if it's a
included.
timing issue too. Then.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see what they say. Anybody have experience with Rancher? Static deployment for bare metal, but pods do not go online. 184 is pretty old. 184 to 111 is a pretty big jump. I would say they probably should try minor version jumps before they jump 3 separate versions. We made a lot of changes between 1.8 and 111. And so the webhook didn't come up properly, it looks like. Yeah, if the webhook doesn't come up properly, you're always going to have issues. I wonder if this is also an in-place upgrade, not fresh. Okay. Yeah, I would just I don't know, unless you folks have something else, I just have them try to go from 1.9, 110 to 111. And I don't remember the major differences. 1.8's been a while.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna suggest that they go read the release notes, because we've changed defaults.
I doubt this being caused by the controller code changes. Maybe it's more in the chart, and since they are not posting the values for the chart, yeah, this would also be helpful. Because as you can see, yeah, I think they are using the chart because
the reason is readiness probe is failing. So I don't think they have. It's possible that they don't have the ports required enabled 10254 and all that.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, maybe the I don't know. Maybe the job is failing. Because if the secret is missing, that would mean that the patch job is failing.
The error message for the pod is readiness probe failure.
Yeah, and that's gonna happen too if the admission webhook isn't up and running either. What's that port you said, Long? 1024?
Then
yeah,
10 to 54. No, it's RKE, so he probably has custom OS installs. So those kind of environments you need to manually allow ports required, right? So 80 and 443 might have enabled, but not the health check port 10254.
But that's not changed since 1.8.
No, he installed on RKE, so which means he doesn't have a host configuration with that port open between nodes. That is my guess.
Okay,
because
is that the right number? 10.254?
You can grep for ports in any cluster on your cluster.
See what he says. Disable leader election code changes missing in 10.4. That's not good. Why would a cherry pick get missed?
No. It should not be in there. That's the thing. We didn't miss that. It's on purpose because that got released with 1.11. That's quite new.
He's saying it was in 10.
No.
Okay.
sure not.
Let's go see where.
That's on purpose.
Traffic match treasures from Maine. Where'd this go into? This got merged into 110.
Yeah, but that's not in there. The disable leader election thing is not in there. I'm pretty sure it's not in there. Because this contains only yeah, you can see in the commits.
Yeah, I was just looking. What's definitions?
I retained everything.
Yeah.
It never has been in there. So for release 110, I really took a lot of care what to cherry pick and what not. And
Yeah,
this
that should be only in 111. You said 111. I'm just going back and looking. I can never remember. I can't remember when I released code.
Yeah.
Make it configurable. Yeah, there it is.
Leader, go on. There's another one probably. Leader election. There it is. And this should not. This is in 11.0.
Oh, this is the one we were just looking at. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the PR, and this one only got released with 11.0.
Yeah. Is that the one he's talking about? Yeah, 10.11. And close.
Maybe they are confusing this.
Maybe. I probably should add the
like-
release notes to 111 for it.
Yeah, release notes are just not aggressive enough.
You know, when I do the community meetings and we at the Kubernetes meetings and I ask people if they read the release notes, no one raises their hand. So
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we've been doing this for about 15, yeah, about 10 minutes. We could probably do one more. Long, do you have any? You always have a good list of issues that we should look at.
Yeah, I'm answering them on GitHub. Well, you can pick.
Any better ideas? That's how I like. I don't see what's wrong with solving it the way that he's talking about in here.
He is trying to be fancy. He is trying to change the project for his specific needs.
Yeah, this is good enough to just add the extra time to the pre-stop hook.
No, I think something like that will mess with a lot of other things.
Ingress posit terminating faster than the target deregistration delay. So make the target deregistration delay less than the NGINX shutdown. This is configurable, right? This looks configurable.
No, so yeah, exactly. You can override the pre-stop hook.
Oh, so he's just
If I
asking if there's a
remember
better way.
correctly, yeah, if I remember correctly, if your pod, the issue for him is that the pod, and I don't know which mode he's running in, as in maybe that's the target type is IP or instance. I'm not sure if this really matters, but in the end, the pod is just shutting down before AWS gets to know, okay, it needs to remove this target.
Yeah, because it's gonna like the deregistration delay because it's still doing the health checks too. I vote that we just say this looks good, and we have no better suggestion.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, overall, I'm just not fine with kind of hard coding or even using any sleep or blocking operation. At best, there is a way we can determine when to actually shut down or not, but not sleep for something.
I know there's like, I'm not thinking today. I know there's like 3 other timers that we have that are configurable that determine like how long we wait, like the grace period for connections. There's that one.
Yeah.
So the wait shutdown is gonna start the NGINX shutdown process, and then we're gonna have the grace termination process. So that's gonna wait to terminate all of the connections. So it's just I'm back to what Long said. It's just gonna continue to complicate things.
I think if the pod is getting terminated, it's switching to terminating state, and with that, Kubernetes should remove it from any endpoints. So either AWS recognizes this, or if you're using target type instance, then kubeproxy, if you're using external the external traffic policy, anything like that should recognize, okay, this pod needs to be removed from the endpoints. But if this is happening fast, so it's getting removed from endpoints, and AWS then also registers this target. But if the pod is actually being completely shut down before AWS has a chance to update endpoints, this is not working. And that's the issue, basically. There's nothing we can fix because this is the way Kubernetes is working, and this will probably be the case for everything, for every pod, not only Ingress NGINX.
So most people do this for applications, like web servers and so on. There it probably makes sense because they can, make it behave the way they want. But this is infrastructure code. So he must be doing things that takes longer on rollouts and so on. So if we suggest optional flag, then that is fine. But changing the project hard coded for sleep, it'll impact very badly for other normal users.
Yeah. Exactly. So this is just the race condition between how fast Kubernetes, so like Kubernetes always updates the state. So when it goes to terminating, then it's being removed from the endpoints. And then either the pod is getting killed and everything's being shut down. And then this is happening because AWS normally takes a bit longer. And all you can do is just artificially insert some kind of timeout that keeps the pod in terminating state for a bit longer. But this is highly provider specific and use case specific. I would not modify our code for this. Ideally, no, there's no ideal way for this, actually.
Yeah, we can't integrate with any cloud provider natively, but we also have a work shutdown timeout config in our clean map. Yeah, users can just change the config map. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically the same. we can't change that because we don't know. For this to work, again, I'm not sure about the Kubernetes pod lifecycle. If we start returning, returning an unhealthy status while it's being terminated, maybe Kubernetes starts killing the whole pod or starts killing the container, which is even worse. So it should only affect the readiness endpoint then. And this is already happening. So the endpoint is already being removed.
I hate that the mute, like the whole little like tray disappears. And it's like, I can't tell I'm on mute. This is the same kind of thing, right? We just tell them if you want it to die faster, you need to also turn down the shutdown grace period. You need to turn that down so the NGINX pod dies sooner. Right? Because there's the post, both of the things I just looked up. The grace period and the other one.
Yeah. Yeah, so both of these issues are talking about AWS object, the nodes that he wants to deal with, the NLP that he wants to deal with, and we don't have control, or it doesn't make sense to change the static code we publish to deal with those things.
These are all configurable by the user, right?
Right.
So
this one not. This one's not configurable. And
which one?
Up to some point, he's right about that, because I'm not sure. So that's what I mean. That's all about Kubernetes pod lifecycle in the end. That has nothing to do with grace period or something like that.
Well, the pod's not.
It depends. Yeah. So if a pod is getting shut down due to scale in, then it's being set to terminating. And normally, I don't know, that you need to check that. It should be removed from the endpoints. And so it should not be able, so new connections should not get there normally. Even though we are responding with OK in the readiness.
Yeah.
And now in the readiness check. So even though we might still answer OK in the readiness check, the pod should be in terminating and therefore not being considered by the service implementation like kubeproxy or Cilium or whatever you're using. It should not be considered for new connections, but old connections should still be available. So this issue might be valid. I'm not sure. I can try it out. I mean, I have AWS access and I can fiddle with this. But the other one with the delay, with the manual delay, just doesn't make sense. We need a better solution for that. So maybe we just need to find a way to optimize our controller to the to better work together with the pod lifecycle.
No, this dependency is outside of Kubernetes. He's talking about NLP draining. So NLP drain may take short time or long time, and it's the cloud controller that deals with that. So,
but it's also how fast we turn down the pod, because we're not gonna completely terminate the health check's still running while the pod's terminating, because we're waiting for the connections to die. We're not gonna fully stop processing.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a timing issue. This is a whole timing issue.
Yeah. No, I see what's the issue here. I think he's using target type IP, and then for the same reason, the pod is not getting deregistered in AWS, either not fast enough or not at all. But there still is a health check, and the health check is faster than the health check is faster than the deregistration. So it would totally make sense to just answer a not okay status in the readiness. In the readiness endpoint.
You can also just turn down the readiness. So there's got to be an optimal configuration of like the NLB deregistering the target, terminating the pod, turning down the health checks, and then the wait shutdown and the grace. So those all have to be in concert with each other. Otherwise, you're going to have issues. You want me to assign this one to you?
Yeah.
Marco?
Sorry. Yeah, sure.
I can never remember
A.
everyone.
GA.
GA.
You can also just type my name.
I can.
Right with my code to do. Yeah.
Okay. That's
I'll give it a look.
we gave that a solid 20 minutes for issue triage. Getting better at that. I always skip to like open topics and we flip back and forth between things. So yeah. All right. What open topics do we have? I know there's all the security changes that we've been doing. So that's timing for 112 we need to talk about as well. We have our SLC chat. I think those are the three things that are top of my mind. Ricardo's not here, so we can't talk about how the processor, the NGINX config changes to crossplane are going. So we can follow up with him on that.
Do you want to look at some of the issues that are marked triage accepted?
We can. I want to make sure we get through these things because we do need to talk. We need to talk about the security changes because I know we've made several of them. I don't have them all listed out, but we definitely should have a blurb going out and have a timeline for 112 so that people can start testing. Are these so here's a question to the group. When we've made big changes like this, we've put out beta releases. Should we do that for 112 and let folks test it before we actually make it an official 112 release? Thoughts?
Yeah, this would absolutely make sense.
Okay. So we probably should put it like paragraph talking about all the changes. For the beta release. And of course, this is going to be in the talk because it literally is called Securing the Future of Ingress NGINX.
Yeah, I think we can sort of talk as most changes we're introducing with 112 are security relevant, or in that direction, I think we can also just wrap the whole talk around that topic, like what's in 112, and that would make it a lot easier.
How about like did we get all of those changes in the main?
Yeah.
So want to do a beta release in the next week or so?
Not that early. I still have something open, like removing PSP, for example, also a bit breaking. Yeah, so I've like
okay.
3
Yeah, I
changes
said
I'd like to put in.
mid September.
Yeah, should be doable.
Okay.
So I'll try to put in some of my changes, and then when I'm done, I'll just ping you, ping in the chat, in the Slack chat, and kick off the whole release process again, because this also will take another week, probably.
Okay.
And then this should be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, so that works. So we can work on while you're doing the release, we can just put together like a paragraph, let folks know, put that out there on the wire in the next week, and we'll tell them the beta 1.12 release is going to have all of these breaking changes, all of these security defaults. Maybe, I don't know if did we open an issue for it? I know we have the permanent breaking change issue, but I don't know if that's been updated in a minute. Okay, yeah, he did.
Yeah. Ricardo updated everything.
Okay, all right.
Looks quite good.
We'll point folks to this one. We'll outline these. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, we can. So normally, when you're doing the release, I mean, it's already generating change logs, and then we can maybe have a short think about what to put in and what to outline a bit more, especially the security and breaking changes, and what users need to consider when updating to that release.
Yeah.
So it's everywhere in the end. It's in the release notes, and it's in the change log. It's in this issue.
It's in this issue, and I'll shoot it out to the users channel. I'll put it out on Twitter, and I'll put it in the dev Google discussion group so that we've blasted it out, and we'll get some folks from like SIG-Network
exactly.
to pick it up. Okay. All right. So that'll be the majority. That'll probably be a big portion of the talk. For 1.12. That's all I had from open topics. And like I said, I'll follow up with Ricardo on cross-plane. So the action items.
Yeah, I think this is just part of the release process in the end. But still, yeah, you can take care of the Google group and Twitter.
Okay. If you look at the old ones, we covered all of those. That's basically the conversation. Stricter adherence to the Ingress API. Okay. Well, I do have a customer meeting that I need to get to, and continue prepping for. So unless anyone else has anything pressing that we need to talk about, there's the reminder. We'll go ahead and drop, and we'll catch up on Slack.
I have one suggestion.
Shoot.
So other security changes we can explain and talk about, but there is a valid problem that is not been well, let's say, elucidated, explained, and kind of reasoned, and that is the characters question mark, equals, and comma. We're not allowing it. So in one of the issues I said it's a choice between having validation code for the very specific annotations where those characters are kind of expected, natural, and people to use it. So
you're
there is
talking
no,
about the question mark URI and the
no, there are
regexes.
what I'm saying is nowhere in our text that we type anywhere, either in that issue that you opened just now, anywhere, we are giving a reasoning and the rationale behind those three characters, because those three characters are valid use cases for some annotations. And it seems like we have a blanket code for all validations, for all annotation validations. So
Each
we have,
annotation has its own function, doesn't it?
right.
Yeah.
Right. But in the annotations where URLs are required, for example, rewrite and so on, it's very valid for any normal user to use the question mark, right? Question mark, rewrite URI.
But the question mark should be in there. And we had a recent change about that. James also added the comma to that.
That was
regex.
that was one. There was two issues. I don't know
So there
where
is
it
three characters,
is.
right? Dollar sign, question mark, equal sign, and comma. So I'm just suggesting that we should either edit the issue that we are exposing now as pointing people to a longer description, a more fuller, more real content of why we are doing that. Because one rationale is somebody will say, why not write specific validation for some of these annotations where these characters are valid use case. Other places like return character is bad, but there are some annotations where question mark is valid. So we are kind of saying no,
I
even
don't
question
think
mark.
I don't think we have a validation per annotation. There's just one regex for URLs, for example, and this is being used
That's
everywhere.
correct.
And
That's correct. That's correct. That's why my suggestion is a longer description somewhere, longer, full blown description and explanation why we have this situation.
Yeah, here's an example. One of the new lines. I mean, I wonder if we make that regex configurable and we let people change it to their own security. Again, you let the user, when we talk about our security hardening guide, we say these are the ones you should allow, and this is the default. And if you want to change it, here's the variable,
Yeah.
here's the config line to change it, and they assume the risk, right? If they open up something that creates a CVE, that's on them, right? So we don't have to continuously make code changes when every new one comes up. So I guess that's a topic that we can bring up and see how Ricardo feels about it too. I mean, I can already tell he's not gonna like it, but we'll have to keep making code changes and patch fixes for little things like this one. So
That's highly desirable, and it's the dream solution for users. What currently the problem is what Marco said. We have one single validation code blob, right? One big that applies to all annotations. So, but we are not explaining that. So, if first right now, if we explain that and say maybe in future, if somebody wants to write specific validation code for very specific annotations, and if it doesn't mess with the size of the code and the complexity of the code, maybe we'll accept it. But because right now we have to secure it, we are
but
going
I don't
with this.
get the point. URL is not random. URL is not what you want it to be. URL is defined. There is, I would not say an RFC for what characters are allowed and what are not. But in the end, it is like this. And normally some are escaped and others are not.
Marco, on the NGINX docs, the rewrite directive, the official NGINX docs rewrite directive is displaying the question mark.
Yeah, but the question mark is working. We got tests for this. I saw it. That's because of the PR. So there was this PR with the comma, for example. And
Okay,
I saw that we have the question mark in there because the test James wrote already also included an equal sign and a question mark. And this
right.
regex is used everywhere. And it also includes a full stop period, and it also includes a comma. Don't get me wrong, I'm just wondering what we are talking about right now because I cannot imagine that is still an issue. There it is. Just click on the commit on the commit in the top. You can just click on the commit on the top.
So then in that case, it's likely that PR is 111 and users of 110 are creating issues and asking about that.
There it is. So this one.
yeah, so I wonder if that
full stop is missing. Period is missing.
Yeah. I I wonder if we make these configurable instead of hard-coded variables. That's what I'm saying. because we also have this check. If folks break it, it won't. If it's not a
No,
valid regex.
wait. Full stop is not missing because it's concatenated. There is alphanumeric characters and URL enabled characters, and they are both put together. So they cannot complain. The period is already in there. There is everything in there. There's a question mark, there's a period, there's a dash, underscore, whatnot, and they are just concatenated for URLs.
Is valid regex.
And that's the same for everything.
Yeah.
We always concatenate them. So I can barely imagine that this is an issue.
Yeah.
And since it's a feature, this is not a patch. You need to know this is kind of more feature. We are adding something. We are not fixing, it's broken. We can have a discussion about that. I think I cherry-picked it to 110. So as soon as we are, so the comma is in, but before that, so in every 110 we have out there right now, I can promise that everything except the comma is already in there. We just added a comma in a reason change.
Another one we need to talk about is accepting the wildcard and allowed course headers. I feel like that's not a good security policy.
That's correct.
Again, make it configurable so the users can do it. I don't know. Is that just a... Yeah, that's just a change to the header, to the... You know? Okay. I think we need to have a larger conversation about all the regexes that we use.
Yeah.
Right.
I put it there as an action item. And I'll follow up with Cardo when I do the cross-plane conversation with him. But I do need the drop, folks.
Okay.
Same.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Have a good one. Bye.